Hey everybody, it's Cody here from Rasslin Rage. I'm joined today by the Faceless member, Kevin Kalloway, and Pro Wrestling All-Stars heavyweight champion. Now I'm going to ask him a few questions, but before I do that, make sure you slam the thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you want to be notified of new content, make sure you click that bell. So Mr. Kalloway, thank you so much for joining me today.
Anytime. I'm always willing to spread my particular brand of despair wherever I go.
I like that. Now, I first met you. I don't remember how many years ago it was. It was a couple years ago. I first met you you were doing camera for Blue Water Championship Wrestling.
It was about a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, and please don't take offense to this, but I didn't really know you that well. I had never really seen you at much, and man, you are all over the place now.
Yeah, we've started to get out of state at a couple places. I just went down to Indiana. We did a show for IWA Mid-South. Did a hot sauce festival out in Chicago over the summer. We're trying to get more out there.
Yes, absolutely. You got to do that. You can't just stay in one spot, or you got to get all the eyes that you possibly can. So, you're out there, you're doing your thing, you're working all over the place. What made you gravitate to professional wrestling? Now, you graduated from House of Truth, correct?
Correct.
All right. So, what gravitated you toward the House of Truth and training in professional wrestling?
So I've always been enamored by storytelling. I love the aspect of bringing a story to life. Moves and what we do in the ring it's all about winning. So the story to me is I want to win, and there's no aspect that I won't protect to make sure that we can get that story to really come to life. There's nothing else that interested me with the flips and all that stuff. You've seen my ring work. It's to the point. It's straight. And I really love being able to see everything play out in front of me. That's what really gravitated me towards wrestling. As far as House of Truth itself, honestly, I did a lot of research when I was looking up wrestling schools, and that was the one with the most credibility.
Absolutely. Truth Martini's been around the block, and I mean that in the nicest way.
Mm-hmm.
And, he knows what he's doing. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I can't tell enough how much I've learned from him.
I know some guys, I'm not sure exactly how Truth's program is, but, you do your X amount of weeks in the program, you graduate, you're certified, or, you get your stamp of approval, and you're ready to go out and obtain work. What was that like for you, going from student to now you're able to go out and obtain, matches and things like that? Did you find it hard to get your feet, or was it fairly easy, or how did that go?
Honestly, I just started showing up places, shaking hands, and being as respectful as I could. Eventually opportunities were afforded to me, and I feel as though I took advantage of most of them. I would like to think most of them.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, obviously something's working out right, because I see you all over the place, and I mean that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we see here there's the flyer up there. There it is up there there it is for the Deathmatch Apocalypse 2020 coming up on January 17th, 2020 at the VFW Hall in Lincoln Park. And you guys, this promo that you and Sean did, Mr. Tyler there, that's going to play tomorrow on Michigan Independent Weekly, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Dude, I see what you were talking about, the story, when you're talking about the story. And I see that in a lot of what you're doing, not just ring work, but all over, right? And the guys and I, they're not here, but the guys and I, we talk about a lot about how you don't see a lot of promos anymore. Now they're starting to cut, you're starting to see them again. But the promo, how important do you believe that the promo is to the match?
In independent wrestling, promos are arguably more important than when you have TV behind you, because there's no real way to be able to tell a story without them. I think you can do it in the ring, but those shows are month to month. You have to be able to cut a promo in between and promote it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, you're taking on, you know, the Detroit Punks. We got Sean Lawhorn, and then we got Mitch Hewitt. What does the Horror Slam fans have to look forward to? Now, you said we told you so to Chuck Stein. Are we going to say we told you so to the Detroit Punks too?
Mitch Hewitt and Sean Lawhorn have to look forward to a nice brand of despair. I really, again, in the promo, I said I don't really care about the titles. We've kind of been there, done that at this point for Horror Slam. I am far more interested in seeing them really, really reach their true potentials, because they're just around right now. And I feel like Mitch and Lawhorn have so much going for them that they should really go their separate ways. Chuck Stein doesn't really need them around. He does very well in his death matches. But they could be so much more in Horror Slam, at Pro Wrestling All-Stars, anywhere they go, without each other. Quite frankly, I'm doing them a service and making sure that they really find it in their hearts to grab despair by the horns and find their inner strength.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, so you have a title already over there at Pro Wrestling All-Stars. You defended that title last week, Friday, at Pro Wrestling All-Stars, Decade of Champions. Mm-hmm. And that was a great match. There was a little interference there by Peter B. But overall, you got the W, and now you're going into this Deathmatch Apocalypse. What do you like about working for, like, what is Horror Slam about to you? Like, I've been to a Horror Slam and I enjoyed it. It's just so far away from me, and I don't get home until really late. And with kids, that sucks. But, you know, what's that like to you? Because them crowds, you know, are insane. They are nuts. It's a different breed over there.
Horror Slam definitely brings in a very different crowd. That's a nice way of putting it. They very much, they're all about violence over at Horror Slam's crowd. So the more violence you give them, the more they'll cheer for you, or vice versa. So as far as how special it is for Horror Slam for me, Horror Slam was really Pro Wrestling All-Stars is where I debuted, but Horror Slam is really the first place that gave me huge chances in my career. So I credit a lot of my growth and everything to not only where I came from training, of course, but to Horror Slam and Pro Wrestling All-Stars because of those opportunities they've afforded to me. So Horror Slam is very special to me. I have, in fact, never missed a Horror Slam show since they began 2 years ago.
Wow, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. And they've put me in a lot of nice opportunities since then. I've worked with Congo Kong. I've worked with Josh Alexander very recently. I got to work through the Dead Seven because we annihilated them, which was nice.
Right.
Them off my back. But it was the first time that I'd been able to really tell a good story at Horror Slam, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, and again, a good story does a lot for a lot of things. Now, back there for a minute, you talk about some of these gentlemen that, like you named, Congo Kong, who is no small person.
No.
What was that like? You know, looking. I mean, I think he's over 6 foot. So, exactly what was it like? Looking, you know, hey, what's up?
Intimidating. Intimidating is the best way to put it. We fortunately in the match had a nice numbers advantage, so we ended up picking the W up off the back of MM3 joining us that night. because we ended up another member deep. So fortunately, we didn't have to pin Kong. We pinned someone else, and we just kind of used our numbers to make sure he wasn't there.
Awesome.
So it was intimidating once he got in there, and it was painful, but we did end up securing a W.
That's awesome.
Off of small amounts of, let's say, bending of rules.
I like it. Now, so you share a locker room with guys like that, and are you picking their brains and when you, in a nice way, do you say, hey, listen, what could I do better? And what do you do with that information?
I try to talk to people whenever I can. Usually it's really crazy at a wrestling show. So you're bobbing around and, figuring, saying hi to everyone, whatever. So I pick people's brains and I try to take as much knowledge as I can, no matter where I go. That's the best answer I can give, I think. Absolutely.
And those of you that might not know who Mr. Alexander is that he was talking about, but he's currently with Impact Wrestling. And that dude has, a story of his own, because his wrestling career was virtually almost over. And, with his injury, and he came back and he's almost back on top of the world, and, with him and Ethan Page. Was that that's an amazing story, but what was that like for you to kind of, be able to rub shoulders with that guy and get some information from him?
It was great. I wasn't able to pick up the W in that one. In fact, I ate a pile driver, bounced right off my head, and here we are. But being able to pick his brain and really figure out some things that I may have misunderstood, and be taught a lesson in the ring by him himself was nice.
Absolutely.
Even though it was a bit painful.
Right. Right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, so we know that Friday on the 17th, 2020, you're going to be at Deathmatch Apocalypse 2020 there at the Lincoln Park VFW Hall. Mm-hmm. Is there any shows you have besides those coming up in the month of January, maybe in the beginning of February, that you're going to be at, that the people can come see you?
I believe I'm at, I might be in Indiana next Saturday, so that will be tough for Michigan Independent Wrestling. But I'm at the Logan benefit show, or Logan's Wife benefit show.
Oh, that's on the 25th at Grizzlies and Wyandotte.
And then I'm back at Pro Wrestling All-Stars for Wrestle Bowl.
Was that the 31st?
That is the 31st, where they do the large 12-man gauntlet to see who gets the privilege of facing me.
Hey.
And then that Saturday, I believe I'm somewhere, but I don't remember where. And then later on, February, I will be at Sanctuary.
Ooh, nice. That's a nice. I wasn't at the first one, but by the looks of the photos that I've seen and some of the videos that came out, that looks like it's a pretty stellar show.
Yes, I had the privilege of being there in attendance for a little bit of it for their first show. It was awesome. I'm happy to be a part of their crew now.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Now, I ask this question to most people that I interview, and I can tell you're a driven person. You have, I can tell that you have some sort of vision. And I'm not necessarily asking you to tell everybody, hey, this is my plan and this is what I'm going to do.
Well, that's good, because I like keeping my plan secret.
Well, sure. And right now,
that way my opponents can just keep guessing.
Is there goals that you have, like short-term, long-term? Are there goals that you have? And is there some goals that you may be able to share with us as far as your wrestling career is?
My goals currently are to get out of state more. So get out of Michigan more, which is unfortunate for people who want to see me here. But it makes it that much more special when I am back. Canada is high on my priorities list to make it into Canada and wrestle in Canada. Past that, not really. Just making sure that I get out there and do what I can to get better. That's my goal.
Absolutely. One last question before we get out of here, and I'll have you throw your social media out there to the fans and the viewers out there. But I've heard previously, I can't remember who it was, but it was in another interview that I did, and they talked about your insane cardio. And tell me a little bit about this here, because all the guys that I've talked to, or maybe we've had a private conversation, but this, I remember in an interview, somebody said that they specifically sought you out because you are the cardio guy. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit, like, is that something like you strive yourself in? And, you know, how did you get there?
So originally I got there about 4 years ago now, when I graduated college. I was about 295 pounds. I was a big dude. So I dropped about 80 to 90 pounds before I started training at House of Truth. So I had to get in good shape and learn how cardio worked. Then once I got to House of Truth, I realized that none of it mattered, because once you get in the ring, cardio is completely different. And how my cardio got to the level that it was, or that it is rather, is I lived at House of Truth. And I ran the ropes every day. I made sure I was in there either helping new students or helping myself, just by doing rolls and making sure that I can move around the ring. And now, since I can't be there as much, the insane cardio that I'm sure the person you were talking to is speaking about is my warm-up for the gym is anywhere from 45 to 75 minutes on a Stairmaster.
For a warm-up?
Yeah, that's my every day, every time I hit to the gym. And then I do whatever I'm lifting or whatever that day. So
wow.
Yeah, it depends on the day and how much time I have, but it's usually it averages usually about 45 to 60 these days, but I've done a 90 run or a 90-minute stint. It was awful, but I did a 90-minute stint at one point.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you said something about the cardio that you did before the ring didn't matter, and then you had to run the ropes. Well, didn't have to, but you ran the ropes to get the cardio that you have now. So what I'm taking from that is the cardio, say someone does, outside the ring is completely different than what's inside the ring.
Oh, absolutely. There's such a difference between being in the ring and being on an elliptical or a treadmill, because it's your whole body that's moving when you're in the ring, and it's just your legs when you're doing elliptical or treadmill. Even if you're swinging the rest of your body, it's just not the same. You're not getting up and getting back down, getting thrown, getting slammed.
That's I can only imagine. I've never done any of that, and I can only imagine. And it's some of the stuff that goes on in some of these matches throughout the entire state, and it's insane, the beatings, and what I have some of the most respect for some of the gentlemen and ladies that are in the business that do what they do is not only are you're in a ring on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then training throughout the week, you're also working jobs and doing all that like normal people. You know what I mean? And that's insane. I have a hard time doing what I'm doing, and I don't run the ropes. Yeah. I went to Indiana with Cyrus for a show at UWF down in Indiana. 6 hours there. And we got there, hung out for a while, 6 hours back, and then hit XI the next day. And I was tired. I was tired, and I didn't even do anything. So I don't know how you guys do it.
There was one I went with Movado to the Hot Sauce Festival, not last year, but the year before. And I was only on it for one day. I was on the Saturday show because I had XI the next day. I was in Proving Grounds at the time. And I had Horror Slam on that Friday. So it was Friday, leave from Horror Slam and make it halfway there, sleep somewhere, make it the rest of the way there, do the show, leave that show, make it home 2 a.m. I think we made it home at 2 a.m. and then I was up helping at XI by noon the next day.
That's insane, man. How do you guys not bite somebody's head off?
Some people do. Some people do. Other than that, just a lot of tired. Just a lot of tired.
For sure. Well, man, I don't want to keep you any longer, and I want to say thank you so much. Before we get out of here, people love social media. They love interacting with the people. Throw out whatever social media you have. Maybe you have a YouTube channel or something like that. Throw that down and listen, everybody that's watching. If you scroll down into the description down there, Okay, I'll put the links right to his Facebook and whatever he has. That way, you don't have to add whatever. Just click the link; it'll take you right to his Facebook, right to the Instagram, whatever he's got, Twitter, whatever. And we're gonna put it down there for you. You can click on it and do all that stuff. So go ahead and shoot him all that good information.
So of course, my main use of social media actually is Facebook, which is nice for me because it's easy for me to manage. We also have a Faceless Facebook. I believe it's The Faceless. Purge Night is over right now because Purge is dead in the ground. We also have a YouTube. I believe it's The Faceless 313. And then I have a personal YouTube that I haven't updated as much as the new Faceless one. A lot of the newer matches are on the Faceless page. But if you want to see some old Kevin Kalloway before he decided to start painting, it should just be under Kevin Kalloway for YouTube. And then I have a Twitter, but I don't use it a lot. You can follow it if you'd like. Maybe I could start using it more. And that's just at Kevin Kalloway as well.
Awesome. So again, guys, I'm going to put all that stuff in the description, so you can just click it, go follow and subscribe and all that good stuff, man. And I'll put all the YouTube down there too. I'll put the Faceless YouTube channel and his personal down there so that you guys can subscribe to both of them, man. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And don't forget, you can check out Kevin Kalloway and his partner Sean Tyler at The Faceless taking on Detroit Punks at Horror Slam this Friday, January 17th. At the VFW Hall in Lincoln Park.
It's going down. This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads